Good morning, people. Happy Sunday. Well, it's not such a happy Sunday, is it? After yesterday's game, once again, just an absolute calamity. But welcome to Gunner Talk. It's your boy Si, aka the Mancunian. Welcome along. Just want to say quickly, some of you are so awesomely helpful. You guys know I'm an absolute dinosaur when it comes to technology. So I've been putting a few feelers out there because I said I wanted to get guests on. I now know how to work, roughly know how to work the software to get guests on. So if any of you guys are interested in, just coming on and chatting with me, helping me answer questions or whatever, please just drop me a DM or a tweet or whatever, and get in touch and come on and, air your opinions, whether, you're worried or not, or, whatever the scenario is, come on and have a chat, and get it out there and let's see, what people think about what you've got to say. Before I get into, it's going to be the usual after game Gunner Talk where we're going to go through player ratings and things. Just a few things I wanted to go through and stuff that sort of was raised to me yesterday after the game. The first one, I'm not somebody who'll call out home fans because they're the ones that are paying the money and going. It's easy to talk about these people from a position where, I can say, well, I live in Manchester, so I don't have a spare 400 quid every weekend to go to the games. Used to, don't anymore. So it's easy for me to talk because you'd say, well, if I lived nearer, I'd go. You can't say that for definite. So it's easy to talk when you live a bit further away about home fans. But I find it really disgusting how empty the ground is at the minute. And I was asking a few of the lads that I know have season tickets yesterday, what's the feeling in and around the ground? Why is the ground so empty? Are people just that done with Unai that... and not just Unai, but under the end of the Wenger era, just performances are dire and it's just hard to watch. I've told you guys, I've made no secret of it, that, in Wenger's last year, I walked out of 4 grounds at half time because of the way games were going, and I thought I might as well get home earlier. I'm not staying here for another, 3 hours to watch us get beat. I'm not, so I'm going. So I can understand it. I just want to know then why, if those people aren't going, why they aren't just selling the tickets on and just letting, just let somebody have them for nothing if you're not going. I get why people charge people for tickets, but if it comes down to the last day and you haven't sold your ticket still, just let somebody have it for nothing. Because surely having fans in the ground is better than not, and you having 30, 40, 50 quid in your pocket. Just my opinion, but it's not just that, it's the cheering yesterday. The 8 people that bothered to turn up, that full credit to you, were in full voice. But we were in full voice about singing about Mesut Ozil. Why, if people put the same amount of energy into singing about Arsenal, we might actually give these lads a feeling that they're getting backed a little bit. Mesut Ozil can only be one of only a few at the minute that feels like he's got the support of the fans. And I think that must be quite disheartening for the other players as well, is that, there's a massive chant of "We've got Ozil" ringing round, and there's no just Arsenal chant. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not here to call people out and moan about it, but I just can't understand it at the minute, and I think the club need to do a bit more about it and be a bit more proactive because it just doesn't look good. I got 3 text messages yesterday saying, one from a City fan saying, "You've got the nerve to call our place the empty ad, mate. It's more like the empty ruts," and it's true. It's getting that way. I didn't used to mind us being called the Highbury Library because at least it was full. We were just quiet, but now it's quiet because it's like a ghost town. You're looking, a couple of rows up and there's just a tumbleweed going past. It's not good at all. It doesn't look good either. Let's get off that. Not that anything's going to get any more positive, but second one. I commented on it yesterday and somebody had a word with me about it. Unai's comments, where he said, we bossed the game. This is his post-match interview, and I just pulled it straight away. I was like, this is again a statement from this guy that proves he's not up to the job. He said we dominated the game. Well, they had 25 shots, we had 10. That doesn't sound like, very domineering to me. Then he also said, we pushed on for a second goal and we tried to create a second goal. We didn't have a shot after the 32nd minute on target. So I can't get behind that either. And then, hate to be preachy again, guys, but I said it before the game when I saw that lineup. I said that, it's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's very negative. Packing the midfield, not massively attacking. He's playing for a draw. And after the game, he said, we played the way we wanted to and we got what we wanted. Yeah, a draw. And some of you have seen your ass over it, but that's what the guy was playing for. He set us up to getting a point out of Wolves at home. Let's remember, getting a point out of Wolves at home was as good as a win for him. He felt that any result was a positive one. That's another reason he's so out of touch with the fans for me. I don't think he actually realises how little love he's got from the fan base at the minute, because I've got two mates that are mega positive Gooners, and even they're now twitching, going, I'm not seeing anything that makes me believe we're going to come out the other side. And I think that's it. I think you'd have to, look under a lot of rocks in the arse end of nowhere at the minute to find somebody that's an Unai in. I really do. He's lost my backing completely, and I just can't. I can't even bear to watch him talk anymore, because it just makes no sense. Anything he's coming out with, it's the gibberings of a madman, and it's totally frightening for me. Totally frightening. I'm just confused. For me, he set us up yesterday the way Wolves should set up against us, coming away. That a draw is a good result for them, and it felt the totally opposite for me yesterday. I think they were here to get 3 points, and we were there to a draw's good enough, and that's a result. And that's a really poor mentality for a club like us. Like I say, just another tick in his box. Otherwise, got to go for me. It's P45 time. It's crazy. Let's have a little bit of positive news in amongst all this. Ian, right. The old legend. What a guy. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday, Righty. We all love you, mate. Absolute proper legend. And it made me just watch half an hour of his goals this morning, and you forget how, I feel sorry for these young kids at the minute, and I was saying this when a pal was pulling me yesterday saying about, these fans now that say whatever they want on the internet, and he was saying it does seem to be young kids, sort of 13 to 20 that just, they can voice their opinion, they don't really ever see any repercussions, and they're not bothered about how horrible something they say is. And I was saying to him, can you see a difference between us and them? We've been going for 30 years to watch Arsenal. We've seen good times. Not that I'm giving these kids an excuse, because I'm not. But if you've only been an Arsenal fan for the last 10 years, you've got to be one of the most miserable individuals walking the planet. Because for people like me that are a bit more of a fucking fossil, that have been around a bit longer, whenever you're really down and you don't feel like the club's going in a positive direction, you think back to 2004, you think back to the Invincibles, you think back to the brilliant players we've had, you think back to when Wenger was in his pomp, George Graham, whatever it was. You can lean on those things to cheer yourself up. Whereas, like I say, I'm not excusing these young kids, but what have they got to look back at where they go, well, at least, I remember this, so it can't be that far away in the future? They don't. They've seen, 10 years of absolute abject misery. So I'm not shocked that they're more down in the tooth than, and long in the face than the rest of us that are a bit older that remember good times, but it's still no excuse for some of the vile shit I've seen. And it's got to stop, and it makes me laugh that it's people, that are saying, give Xhaka a cuddle because he gets abuse, and then they're the same ones yesterday that are saying, Emery, you fucking Spanish wanker, get out of my fucking club. Guys, it's like I always say to you lot, you've got to look at your own actions before you start barking shit and getting preachy to other people. And it's why I don't listen to a lot of you. I sell Xhaka is shit, but I'm quite happy for Xhaka to DM me every day and tell me I'm shit, and that's how I feel, and it never gets personal for me. I have called him a waste of skin, but that's on the pitch. I'm sure he's a lovely dad and a lovely fella, husband, boyfriend, whatever. It's not personal, it never is. I just look at it purely from an Arsenal point of view, and the guy ain't good enough, and that's it for me. No agenda, as people like to say. Never had one. That was some main things that were brought out of me from yesterday that people have. I had a chat with people about last night. One other thing that I found really depressing about yesterday, but it was self-inflicted, I did it to myself. Watching the game, we're 1-0 up. About 30-40 minutes into the first half yesterday. I had a mate, Scouser. Dirty bastard. Yeah, I am actually friends. You know, Manx and Scousers can actually be friends. Can't stand hearing him talk, but I don't mind him texting me. It takes the alright, takes all that out of it. You know, can't deal with it. Hate Scousers. No, he was at the game yesterday, and then I had a City fan mate who was at the game yesterday, and I texted them, like say 30-40 minutes into the first half yesterday, when they were both 1-0 down, and I said, hey, it's not looking good, so it's not all rosy, you can keep laughing at me every week, but it's not looking great at your places today. Sorry, and I also texted my mate who was at the Arsenal match, you know, we were 1-0 up and they were both 1-0 down, so I missed that fairly important part of it. But yeah, I text them all, text them lads and text my mate saying, hey, we're actually winning, it doesn't look too bad this, does it? And it was funny how we were 1-0 up and they were both 1-0 down, and the only negative text I got back was from the Arsenal fan, because he just was watching it the same as me, and he went, we're not holding on to this, mate, we're clinging on here, we're clinging on. And he said to me, I'll be impressed if we had come out with any points from this game, the way it looks. And, you know, you read the text from the Liverpool fan and the City fan, and they're both going, we'll win this. You know, and that's how I used to feel about us 10 years ago. It didn't matter if we were 4-0 down, I would always be, we'll spin this round, because you felt we had the personnel and the togetherness and the game plan to just keep plodding away. And if that one goal came for us years ago, you knew that it was getting followed by another. You know, if we were 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go and we scored a goal, you knew that we were getting the winner. You know, it's like United used to be years ago. You just know they're getting that goal in the last 10 minutes. And you just can't feel like that anymore. There's no, you know, you just go off what we're watching. And it's been poor for a long time. And when was the last time we did a really good, great escape job and you felt confident that we were going to do it? I'm not saying we haven't done it, but where you felt confident we were going to do it. You know, people can say, well, look, the Vittoria game, that doesn't count to me, because you just shouldn't even be behind to a team like that. You know, I'm talking about a proper team, you know, top 10 teams in the world. When was the last time we played one of them and swung a result and you felt like we're going to swing this? I don't remember one. It's just tough to swallow, really. But yeah, the game, let's get into the game. Sort of first 15 minutes. Well, actually, let's talk about the lineup. And like I say, I thought it was very negative. I said defensive, and a few people, I was on Sunny TV Unfiltered, guys. If you don't follow him. I know a lot of people think he talks out of his arse on Arsenal Fan TV, but that's because a lot of people cut him short before. You have to understand the way AFTV is done, and it's done in a way that they get what they want out of certain people, and they like to vilify Sonny because he's someone that will just give his opinion and he doesn't care who likes it, because he's a grown man. He's not bothered. He's not here to please people. He's here to give his own opinion. And I watched his video yesterday, and when he started talking about Torreira, I thought, what fucking planet is this guy on? But rather than instantly message him and go, shut up, you fucking short ass, I chatted to him. I went on his channel last night and I asked him to explain himself, and so did some other people. And when he actually explains himself, I can totally get his point of view. Because I agree with him on some of it. I don't think Torreira will be here next year. If Unai keeps treating him the way he is, why would he? You know, we saw that stuff about saying he was homesick and all that. Well, sitting on the bench every week can't make him feel any better. So yeah, I think, guys, you've just got to, rather than rant and rave and disagree with somebody, ask them to explain their opinion. You see a headline, Torreira's shit, and you just go, right, or Torreira won't be here next year, and you go, that guy's talking out of his arse. But when you actually hear him explain himself, ask for an explanation or ask for some context. Don't just go off the deep end, guys, because it's, like I say, everyone's getting preachy at the minute about a proper supporter's this, a right supporter's that. And the same people that are saying, you know, like I just raised a minute ago about Xhaka, you know, we've got to get behind him, are the same people that are sending Sonny nasty abuse. So you've got to have a long, hard look at yourselves in the mirror, guys, before you start trying to preach to others. And like I say, it's a big reason why I just refuse to listen to a lot of you, because it's coming from a place of total hypocrisy for me. But yeah, that line at the Diamond, as soon as I saw it, I just thought, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians in the middle of the park, too many similar players. I'm not saying Ozil, Ceballos and Guendouzi are the same player, but they're all going to try and attempt to do sort of the similar thing. And then when you add in the mix Torreira, he's not playing him as a CDM and a sort of box-to-box cam. I just don't know what it is. It just screamed pack in the middle of the park and trying to make the game quite stale for me and just frustrate them. And that I say instantly, I just thought this guy's setting us up like we're a relegation team that we just need to get 4 more points to stay in the league. And like I say, I instantly called him on it. We've got no injuries at the minute. He's got no excuses. He's got everyone available to him. All right, you can say there's a couple that aren't quite cherry ripe, but they could still put 60. You could still start him and get 60, 70 minutes out of him. No two ways about it. And I found it odd that he's now changed his mind on Ozil, and then he takes, he hamstrings him by taking away his outlets out wide. I just thought it was really a really odd lineup, and I think he could do himself a lot of favours by just playing our strongest lineup. For one, I think the football might actually get a bit better, although I think it'll still get strangled by his tactics. I think our best 11 players would probably be good enough just on talent to scruff a lot of games, even, regardless of him, I think we could still probably turn results. But yeah, it's just, I can't, like I said, I just can't get behind anything he does at the minute. I just can't understand anything he does. It all seems very odd. And again, another formation, a 4-4, it looked like 4-4-2 with a diamond, Guendouzi at the base, Ozil at the tip, and then sort of Ceballos and Torreira, sort of doing whatever they liked. And it just filled me with dread right from the start. I just thought there's just going to be too many players trying to do the exact same thing. It just doesn't work for me. We've got to get some people in actual roles. And, I said it a lot last year about square pegs in round holes, and that's what this guy doing. It's just like Wenger Part 2 for me, but I don't have any feelings towards this guy that are positive. Wenger, I'm sure a lot of us, I loved the man for 20 years, and he carried a lot more favour with me than Unai Emery does. It's just not good, and I just couldn't understand it. And the first 15 minutes, it was absolute dog shit. We were getting absolutely bullied, and it just felt like an onslaught. I just thought, here we go, we're going to be 1-0 down within 5 minutes here, and this is going to be a long old afternoon. Didn't quite work out that way, but it just screamed no outlet. You get, it's like that. It felt like that GIF or a meme, of Spider-Man pointing at another Spider-Man, and that's what I felt like any time Ceballos, Ozil, Torreira, Guendouzi got the ball. It's sort of, I can just either pass it to myself or pass it to myself. There was no other type of player out there. It was really, really weird. And that's what I thought. I just thought it looked to me, there's no outlets. It's just a totally congested midfield. So we've got the wing backs pushing on, Tierney and Chambers pounding down the field. But then that leaves us open at the back, and we're not really getting any benefit from it because there's no outlets up the top. So they're pushing on for absolutely no reason. All it's doing is leaving us wide open. It just didn't add up to me at all. Really strange. But hey, 20 minutes in, we got the goal, and it was a nice goal. A little bit of luck from Luiz with the cross. I'm not even sure what he was doing there, to be honest. I can't remember if it was off the back of a corner, and that's why he was so far up the field on the right wing. But yeah, it was a bit of luck in the cross, but it's great awareness from Laka, just backing in his usual, what he's brilliant at, just spots it. I don't even know if he looked up for Laka. Those guys just sense that the other one's there, don't they? They've got some brotherly sixth sense, like twins. And yeah, he just put it on a plate for Oban. That finish didn't get a lot of credit, but it was a lot better than people realised. Such good, Wai's world class, such great technique. No, he didn't just blast at it, he didn't just put his foot through it. It was just such a clever, just let it roll across my body and just left foot, side foot, keeper, going the other way. Perfect. Absolutely blinding finish. And there wasn't really much happening after that, really, in the first half. It was pretty abject. And I felt a lot that, it got worse for me in the second half. We went further downhill. I thought we were just getting worse the longer the game went on. 60th minute, I think, Lacazette came off for Martinelli. I think Laka needs game time at the minute, and I thought he was, since he's come back from this long injury, I thought that was his best performance to date yesterday. I was a bit shocked he came off, to be honest. Not against Martinelli coming on, because when he came on, he was lively as per, you know, like a little blue arse fly, like a little rampant Jack Russell, you know, just everywhere, hounding everyone, all action as per. It's what you've come to expect from him now. Not that we should, but it's what you are coming to expect from him. But I didn't think it made sense coming on for Laka. Then, you know, a few minutes later, Torreira went off for Saka, and we seemed to shift to a 4-4-3, and I just really couldn't understand that. I really couldn't. And again, for me, he's not learning from his mistakes. You know, look at the game the other day. He brought these players off, and we folded against Liverpool, was it? You know, Torreira came off, Ozil came off, and we buckled a little bit. And, you know, not to say it's definitely the answer and why to blame, but, you know, Torreira, Laka and Turney came off and they scored. You know, coincidence or not, it doesn't help. To me, it took all this, you know, the bit of stability that we had, it removed it out of the team. You know, it's just not good. And not long after that, well, it was literally minutes after that substitute, Torreira coming off, they scored. Really sloppy from Ceballos. That's you know, my old comment about under-8s football, you know, not paying attention to a throw-in. Just not good at all. And he wants flogging for that. For me, I just, you know, like a Nigerian mum, just take the belt off and give him a lash with it. It's just not good. You've got to switch on. And it's these little things at the minute where we're not helping ourselves, just little basic things of switching off and not always playing to the final whistle. We keep doing it. And, you know, that's for the manager to say, lads, a game is 90 minutes, not 70, not 67, 90, and usually 90 plus a few. And you play right to the end, and we're not. And I don't get the feeling he's even pulling him on it. I'd be really surprised if he's pulled to Ceballos last night or today and gone, look at this, pal. You know, I thought this guy was the PowerPoint master. You know, and he makes players watch a lot of videos. I just don't think I think he's lost all faith in himself as well as us losing faith. And yeah, Ceballos switched off and the ball got winged in. I've seen people blaming Chambers. You know, for me, he's playing against one of the best old school number 9s in the league. And I didn't think he had really any chance. Jimenez had the run on him, you know, and he had a static jump. You're never going to win one of those against a guy that's as good as this, because I really highly rate him. And yeah, it was 1-1, and you weren't. I don't think anyone was shocked. I don't think anyone was gutted. Or that's the saddest thing for me now. Is just everybody's already empty, so you don't feel sadness when they score. You just go, knew that was coming. And that is one of the most depressing things for me. Is we've had the life sucked out of us, and it feels like it's going to be a long old road before we get it put back in us. And yeah, and then Turney a little bit after the goal, off for Kolasinac. And again, I can understand why Turney comes off, you know, because we're just getting him back to full fitness and we don't want him to get tired and tweak a muscle out. But to come off for Kolasinac, he's odd, really odd. You know, again, I think we could have gone maybe 3 at the back and pushed on for a winner, and I think that's what we should be doing. And I think that's what the players aren't fully behind Unai anymore, because we're only ever seem to be playing to draw out a result. As soon as we seem to go 1-0 up, he then goes, right, let's all back off and let's defend this, and it's a really strange tactic. Really, yeah, just it's the same thing. I just can't get behind anything he's doing. I really can't. None of it adds up to me. Absolutely none of it. And you know, and it feels like the board need to act pretty quick. You know, that's 2 wins in 9 now. I said to you, we're relegation form the other week, and I said we're the easiest team to get in the box over, along with Norwich in the Premier League, and I ain't backing down from that. You know, 3 games in a row now, we've dropped points. You know, fucking hell, and the quality of opposition we're doing it to as well. I could probably get on board if we were losing to PSG, Liverpool and City in a week, but you know. And yeah, we're getting totally outplayed in game. We're getting outplayed and outshot. Somebody put up a stat last night of shots for and against in the last 10 games, and it makes for horrific reading. Well, literally doesn't matter who we play, we're giving them 10 to 20 plus shots, and we're struggling to get over 10 shots ourselves per game. That's it, relegation form, guys. If we didn't have a couple of world-class players, you know, I said it the other day with that fucking Precious Brown or whatever she's called, who was bad mouth, you know, bums the players to get signatures for stuff, and then as soon as things don't go right, you're hounding them out. You know, giving this guy shit saying, I spend $2,000 a year to watch this shit, Aubameyang, you fucking arsehole. And it's like, to be fair, she's got a point, because if it wasn't for Aubameyang, your season ticket would be 150 quid a year, because we'd be in League Two by now if he hadn't have ever turned up. So I do back her on that point, but fuck me, if he's the guy you're pointing abuse at, wow. And I don't, you know, he's a real go-to, he's a clutch player for us. He's one of our big guys. And if he leaves, then you really will be kicking off after every game, because then I think we would be in the relegation zone. You look at the teams that are within a couple of points of us at the minute. You know what? I didn't want to talk about it, but Leicester next week, we go and get beat there, we could really shoot down the table, and then it becomes really obvious at how poor we are. I think it's getting masked a little bit, because you look at the table like my mate did yesterday, and he went, yeah, but look, we're still here. And it's like, yeah, but imagine where we could be. You know, that's the problem for me now, and that's why I felt sad yesterday, because although I didn't like his formation, I could see, you know, I could see the talent in players. I can see what we've got. You know, we've got a really good band and an orchestra and a shit conductor. That's how it is for me at the minute. You know, we've got Miles Davis and, you know, Satchmo, and we've got some others there on the instruments, and then we got Bertie Bassett with the fucking stick. You know, getting him to play Wakefield Saturday night. It's just not good. And yet, like I said, I don't want to keep banging on, but I just can't back the man anymore. I can't, and I felt like that now I gave him this season again. It's like, right, we've given him the players, we've given him everything he needs. He had his excuses last year. Here's where we kick on, and we just haven't. We're getting worse and worse, and you know, he's had 200 plus million spent on the team. It's terrible. But yeah, one last thing before we get into player ratings. Somebody said to me yesterday about the board. The board have got to sack him now, and I agree. But what has this board done to give you any faith that they'll do that? And you know, I said to him, look at the way they've dealt with this captain thing. There is no way on earth Granit Xhaka, whether you know, how many times in your life have you given an apology, even that you don't mean? You just say it because you know it'll make somebody else feel better. You know, as blokes, you know, if this is blokes watching it, you do it with your missus all the time, or girlfriend. Oh, I'm sorry, love. You don't mean it, but you just know it'll make her feel better, and you'll get less earache later on, so you do it. And for me, whether he was right or wrong or whatever, for me he was totally wrong. And I said, you can understand why he might feel justified in his actions, but there's a big difference between that and actually retorting in a way that's acceptable. Do I think it's fair, the abuse he gets? No, I think it's disgusting. Does that mean he was okay to do what he then did? No. And it's like I said, if one of you tells me to go and fuck myself online today, I'm not justified in going pushing an old lady in front of a bus outside. It doesn't work like that. The world does not work like that. You know, two wrongs don't make a right and all that. And for me, that's what he's trying to do. Didn't like the apology. Well, explanation. I didn't see any part of an apology in it. Like I said the other day, you know, sorry you didn't, you took it that way. That's not an apology. That's basically blaming the fans still. And then his mate came out and said, well, these people, you know, that are booing him, they're not proper fans. Oh, mate, just stop talking. You know, it's like United, and just delete all social media, tell your friends to shut up, and just crack on, and do your talking on the pitch, you know, and on the sideline, because you're making no friends, and you're alienating more people, in my opinion. And one thing I found interesting about yesterday, did anyone hear at the end of the game yesterday? There was a massive boo. Massive boo. Well, why is everyone not getting upset about that? So all the players yesterday, when they walked off at full time, were they all justified to take their shirts off, drop them on the floor going down the tunnel and tell us all to fuck off? No. No, not at all. And that's it for me. It was a football thing. The day at the ground, it had nothing to do with the abuse he's had online. That might be on the back of his mind, but that's not a reason to take it out on paying fans. And paying fans do have the right to boo. I'm sorry. Because if, you know, I said it about Thierry, like he said, if you're happy to accept the plaudits and the cheering, you've got to take on board the criticism at times and the booing. You know, that's just being an adult. And that's, like I say, why I said Xhaka was a bad choice of captain, because he's petulant. He's a hothead and he's petulant. And he, you know, as I said, I've not got any pleasure out of it, because I don't want to see this situation at the club, because it's toxic. But, you know, again, I've been proved right, but I can't take any pride in that. because it's Arsenal whether I like him or not, he's Arsenal captain. I don't want to see this situation between the Arsenal captain and the fans. Match going fans, it's just so wrong. But I said to him, look at the way the board have dealt with this whole captaincy issue. There's no way on earth that there shouldn't have been a statement the day after saying, he will make an official statement, but for the time being, he's going to be just in the background. He won't be playing for the first team for quite a while. While he gets help with, it seems he's, I don't want to say soft, but he's got to learn to deal with this stuff better. I know it's not pleasant to hear it all day, every day, but I've worked with people that hear it all day, every day, and they all still manage to crack on with a smile on the face. He is no different to any other person in the limelight for me, because they all get it. You all don't like it now because it's been put under your nose. The same as a lot of you don't give a shit about homelessness until you see somebody lay on your fucking outside your own house freezing to death. Then you do something about it. But ignorance is bliss, and that's how it is for a lot of you. And you're all getting on board with him. Now go and look at everybody else in the limelight, because they all get shit the exact same. I am telling you that for a fact. I've seen footballers' phones, because they've showed me. I've asked them about it, and they've showed me what they have a look at my feed. This is what I get all day. I hope you die. I hope your wife dies. I hope your kids die. I hope you're all in a house fire. I hope everybody you've ever known dies. They all get it, guys. I'm telling you. Not that it makes it fair or fine or justified, but he is no special case, and that's why I can't accept the way he reacted, because everybody else manages to pull it together. And I nearly got banned off Twitter the other day for saying the N-word. But, look at Tammy Abraham. He missed that chance, and loads of Chelsea fans called him a monkey, a nigger, black bastard, you black cunt. He heard everything, because I saw it, because he posted it saying, this is the abuse I get. Well, what's Tammy Abraham done? He's dug in, upped his performances, and now I can't imagine he gets much hate at all. And that's how you go about things. You're a professional and a role model, and you've, like I say, whether the stuff's acceptable or not, you've got to roll with the punches. You have to be the bigger person, or you're not cut out to be in the limelight, and you need to really have a think about your future. I thought that was Xhaka, the Albania stuff, the Switzerland. He must have had some serious abuse in his time. When he did the Albanian Eagle, he must have got a lot of abuse off the back of that, and I think a lot more sort of racial stuff than he's had from Arsenal fans, and he seemed to deal with that. I just don't know. I've just got no excuses for the guy. But yeah, the point I was making is you look at the board, and I think we all know Unai's got to go now, and it's just, now it's a case of when, not if, and how long they take to do it. And I think most of us realise he's got to go now. Give a manager or give this team a chance to beat Leicester, because if he's in charge, we don't have any chance, in my opinion. But it's like I said to him, look at how badly they've dealt with the captain situation, and the manager's, letting players pick the captain and then letting him pick whether he stays captain or not. And I thought, why doesn't he let him pick who the manager is? Because I'm hoping that I'd have faith in him. They wouldn't say Unai Emery. I can't take credit for that. My mate said that yesterday. He's he let the players pick the captain, and whether he stays captain, why doesn't he let him pick the manager? I thought that was great. It made me smile on a shit day yesterday. But yeah, it's like I said, what have this board done that give you faith that they're going to get rid of him? That they're proactive, that they're going in the right way, that they've got the same dreams as we have as fans? They haven't. It just feels very much again like this is just about money. They don't care about the aesthetics or the match-going fan. It is just about getting in that top four. Beg, steal or borrow, however we do it, that's all they are asked about. And I think that's the total opposite of the fans. I think there's some of us that only care about getting top form. We don't care how we do it this year. I don't see any way we get top four of them. I really don't. Like I said yesterday, it just makes me sad, because I think we've easily got a squad to do it now. Last year they cut him some slack, but not this year. He's got no excuses anymore for me. Comments yesterday about these youth players now that are, these agents talking for high profile names at the club, asking about what his situation is at the club, and they're sort of weighing up the futures. Then you've got the young kids apparently that they're taking the piss out of him behind his back. Josh, you gave it all the fucking hot air, mate, before the season started. Well, back it up, pal, because as it stands at the minute, you're just once again in your little ivory office in America, totally oblivious to what's going on, and there's no there's nothing between the fans and the Cronkies. There's nothing. They're not really doing anything. And I think that's a shame because, you know, a lot of people in the summer it was spend some fucking money. I wasn't one of those people, but it was spend some fucking money. And they've spent some. It doesn't matter how you look at how they're doing it. They've spent money. They bought some good players. And that's a time to kick on. And we're going backwards. So I can't understand why they've made that investment. Like I say, however they've done it, it doesn't matter. They've bought some players. Why would they have done that and then be happy to just finish 6th again? Because that's the way it's going. I don't think there can be one fan that honestly thinks we're going to land top 4 at the minute. It just seems a country mile away to me. And getting further and further away by the week. You know, Liverpool now have nearly as many points in front of us as we've put on the board. That's embarrassing after so few games. You know, Leicester and Chelsea playing good football at the minute. They're going to be gone in the distance soon. You know, have we got any realistic chances of catching Man City? No. Well, there's a top 4 going away off in the sunset. And like I say, I think that the longer they leave it with Unai, the more unfair they're making it for the next guy. And then, you know, you say if they keep him on till Christmas and we're 15, you know, best part of 20 points off the top 4, that's not fair on Freddie or whoever they get in as interim just to the end of the year. Strange. But anyway, guys, that's going through your guys' questions. I hope I've answered a few, not waffled too much, but you guys know I like, you know, to talk a glass eye to sleep, so I'd probably definitely have waffled. Player ratings, Leno, he gets a 4 from me yesterday. I thought he was poor. He did make a couple of good saves, but his distribution was absolutely dog dirt yesterday, and he was just playing us into trouble. I saw a lot of people giving Guendouzi a hard time yesterday, and it wasn't his best game, but how much pressure were we playing him in? And I tell you what, if that was Xhaka instead of him getting the ball past to him at the edge of the box, they'd have been away and gone in half an hour for me, definitely. 4. He needs to step it up. That wasn't good enough. I found these ratings really tricky to do because I thought we played some better football than we have done for a while. But then, so I wanted to give people a good rating, but then I think we drew at home to Wolves and it's still not great, so then I'm knocking one off it. I just found it a bit tricky, so I'm sure a lot of you disagree with these ratings, but that's where I'm at, guys. So yeah, Leno a 4. Chambers, one of the highlights, he was man of the match for me yesterday. Only just above one other person, which I'll get onto, but I thought he was at magic yesterday. Considering I don't really see him as a right back, but it looks like he is a better option there than Ainsley. Although I don't see Ainsley as a right back either. He's not as good as Hector because it just comes naturally to Hector, and that's the thing for me. The criticisms people seem to have of Callum are things that should come naturally to a right back, and they don't because he's not a right back. And I said the other day we bought him as a right back, but not with the intention to keep him there. So yeah, like I've said, he's a utility man at the minute. We can play him centre back, centre defensive mid, and right back. So I don't think you're ever going to get that 8, 9, that 9 or 10 out of 10 performance. But you should always get a sort of 5 to 7 from him, and I feel that that's what he's doing, and it's enough for me at the moment. Yeah, and I thought that was his best game in a while yesterday. I really did. I thought it was impressive because Jota's not a bad player, and I think he handled him pretty well. Yeah, I was happy with Callum yesterday, and like I say, he gets man of the match for me. Although I'm sure that'll go down like a lead balloon with some of you, but that's how I felt. David Luiz, he gets a 5. Not terrible, but not doing enough. I talked about it the other day. He's not doing enough for me. The only reason why I think he's not getting absolutely panned at the minute is because he's managed to do a bit up the other end, and his passing range is great. And some of us were having a talk about it yesterday because I was very against that 5 at the back last year. And my mate brought it up yesterday and said, you don't like that 5 at the back. I didn't like it last year because it meant that we had Ainsley as a wing back and either Nacho or Kolasinac as a wing back, and that's garbage to me. So that's why I couldn't understand. And centre backs playing 3 centre backs when we didn't even have one good centre back. It just didn't add up to me at all, and that's why I didn't like it last year. But now when I look and we've got Turney and Bellerin as our wing backs or defensive backs, I wouldn't mind then seeing a sort of any two of Holding, Socrates and Chambers, and then letting Luiz play as a sort of sweeper. where he can step into the midfield and play that role Xhaka did. And that's what my big hope was when he turned up, was I went, brilliant, we've got a centre-back now that does what Xhaka does. So that frees up a midfield position where we can put someone that's more creative in there or more defensive. So I would quite like to see that. I still think that's a massive problem. You can blame our defence all you like, but we've got no midfield either. I keep saying it, Torreira's the only midfielder we've got that can actually tackle, and if you take him out, it's a free-for-all. But we have got other players that can play there. Callum Chambers, Fulham Player of the Season, one of the best defensive midfielders there was in the league last year, stats-wise. He's not given a go there, possibly because we're having to utilise him in other places, but I'd love to see him get a go there. And Louise as well, he could play there. I don't know, there's things you can toss around at the minute. It's just got to get better at it, just what we're doing isn't working. So I'd be more than open to trying different things, definitely. But yeah, Louise gets 5 from me, and Socrates the same. I just thought he doesn't seem as good this year as he did for me last year. I patted him on the back the other week and I said that was one of his best performances I've seen in a while, but he just seems a bit in and out, and he's doing a hell of a lot of really clumsy challenges, and that's one thing I've just missed out with Louise, is him and Socrates right near the end where Jota went on that little weaving run into the box. And again, when you watch that replay in slow motion, Socrates, I'm looking at him going, oh, he's just going to take his legs from out from under him from behind, or give a silly pull on the shirt. And then you look at Louise, and he's done that same thing again, where he's already given penalties away, where he gets caught square on, and rather than turn and try and do anything, he just dangles a leg or goes to grab the shirt. And you can't do that as an experienced player, you know, especially as experienced as him. It's just dumb. It's really dumb defending. And I think I'd have snapped if either of them two had give that penalty away with 2-3 minutes left in the game yesterday. It's just so dumb. So yeah, they both just get a 5. They've got to step it up, and I'm not keen on that partnership. Keep saying it. It's a shame Holding doesn't look quite ready, and he had a stinker the other night, because I think it'd be worth trying to play him next to one of the other two. Somebody said to me yesterday, just give Mustafi another chance. No, because I know what I'm going to see, guys. It's the same with Xhaka. I know what I'm going to see. And as I keep saying, both are capable of 7 out of 10s, but they will keep doing those dumb mistakes that you can't justify, and you know are going to happen. It's never going to change. I don't want to get on that, but Turner, you boys know I love this kid. 7.5, he'd have been joint man of the match with Chambers for me. I thought our wing-backs were our best player, full-backs, wing-backs, whatever you want to call them, yesterday. I thought they were our best players by an absolute country mile yesterday. Absolute country mile. I thought it was the best performances from wing-backs, let's say full-backs, we've seen for quite a while. I got rinsed a little bit, but I said that's the best performance from a left back I've seen at this club since Ashley Cole was there. But you guys know Monreal was a waste man for me. I never got behind him. Never understood why he came. Couldn't wait for him to leave. Delighted that happened in the off season. I thought he was really, really good. Because I thought about it, and I thought Kolasinac, he's someone who's had my backing, but I don't think it's that great, especially defensive wise. And I thought it'd have been interesting to see him up against. I think he'd have got found out against Traore yesterday, because Traore's not the greatest. He's like a mixture of Usain Bolt with Javinho, and he's not got the greatest feet and the largest amount of talent. But what he does have is a bucket load of pace and a bucket load of power. He's as wide as he is tall, pretty much. He's got a serious set of shoulders on him. And I think that would have found Kolasinac out massively yesterday. And I'd like to have seen it just for me to finally judge him and say, right, well, yeah, he is done. Or, no, this is why I backed him a little bit. Because his main thing is having a bit of pace and having a ton of power and fancying himself in a 50-50 shoulder barge. And Traore is one of those guys that would put it up to him in a strength contest. So I think it'd have been really interesting to see it, but I was delighted with Turner. I thought, although there wasn't a ton of play down that side of the pitch, Traore didn't get a ton of joy out of him. He didn't. He was a bit lackadaisical right at the start, I think, and he caught him out a couple of times. But once he got in the swing of things, Turner, he didn't give him an inch for me. And I think, like I pulled up on Sonny's podcast last night, you imagine that formation we set up with, playing narrow with the diamond, and then having Ainsley at right back and Monreal at left back yesterday, we'd have got absolutely destroyed. We'd have got blown away. So I think people have got to take that into account when they're giving Chambers and Turnier some rating for yesterday. And yeah, he just shows what we've been missing massively. You know, you look yesterday and you go, this is what it's like to actually have a left back. Crazy. And yeah, he gets 7.5 for me, and it's only half a point less. He'd have got an 8, the same as Chambers, if he hadn't come off. That was the only thing for me. To get into the midfielders, Torreira. I was going to give Torreira a 7 because I thought he was all right, and then I thought no, because he's playing out of position, and that's what made me bump him up a point. Because it's like it's a 6, he's playing out of position. I'm going to give him a 7, and then I thought no, because as I said the other day about Willock and Ceballos, you know, you're still being asked to perform a midfield role. It might not be your preferred one or your actual wheelhouse, but we're not asking you to play goalkeeper or centre forward. It's still a midfielder, so the point came back off again. Like I said, I was really indifferent on a lot of the players yesterday, but yeah, he gets a 6 for me, and he just makes all the difference when he plays in the engine room, and I can't understand how Unai still isn't playing him as a centre defensive midfielder. And somebody said to me, well, he's playing Guendouzi there because he's a better footballer. You don't need that guy at base of midfield to be a good footballer. You don't. And I think Torreira's a lot better footballer than people give him credit for. I really do. And it shows me that a lot of you didn't ever see him play for Sampdoria, or you don't watch him play for Uruguay, because he's a very good footballer. I think that's a massive myth for me, that he's not a good footballer. But I said I'd quite happily never see him go past the halfway line. You know, his heat map yesterday, his average position was further up the pitch than Ozil and Lacazette. You know, so you've got to. I don't know. It was a 6 to me. As soon as we start playing him at a base of midfielders, just a centre defensive mid, just win the ball back, mate. Make those interceptions, give it to someone else, or play it forward. With Guendouzi next to him or Ceballos next to him, I think we might actually start to go somewhere. But while he keeps playing him as a number 10 or a winger or whatever, I just don't even know what he's doing with him. We're going to go nowhere. Because like I say, he's our only good tackling defensive midfielder that he looks like he's happy to play there. Guendouzi, it wasn't one of his better games, but I give him a lot more credit than a lot of you seem to have yesterday. He also gets a 6 from me. Because he doesn't hide. You look at that game yesterday, he is constantly getting the ball on the edge of our box with 4 men around him, and he doesn't stop wanting it. He still puts his name on, you know, at the top of the list. He still puts himself forward to keep wanting that ball, knowing that if he keeps losing it, fans will hammer him. And that takes massive bollocks from me, massive bollocks. And why I say he's a born leader, this kid, and he is a future captain and a future Emirates legend, no two ways about it. And like I say, look at, somebody said to me yesterday he was shite, and it's like, he wasn't great, don't get me wrong, but just give him credit for the things he continues to do even when it's not going right for him. He could have hid like Xhaka does. You know, Wrighty called it the other day, where he just hides, he stands in the spaces in midfield where you can't ever get the ball to him unless it's crazy intricate, and you're not going to risk that. So he can just get away with not really ever being part of the play and not doing anything where it's obvious that he's not part of the game and he's shit. Guendouzi doesn't do that. You look at the last 10 minutes of that game, he's literally getting the ball at the edge of our box, driving it all the other way to the other end of the pitch, and then back again, chasing the ball and then getting it again. He's doing that non-stop for 90 minutes. You've got to give him some credit, guys, especially since he's only 20, just turned 20. Honestly, I don't know how people still aren't rating this kid. He's the future of our club, I'm telling you. And the sooner you get on board with that, you know, like it or lump it, you're going to have to. Ceballos, he gets a 6 as well. It was a better performance from him, but it still wasn't particularly good. You know, it was the best he's put forward, second best performance he's done this year, but it still wasn't particularly good for me. And I don't know why he keeps doing that, just going round in a circle. It's like he plays himself into trouble sometimes rather than just busting forward, but I think that's maybe because he lacks pace. I don't know, but he's another one I'm not sure that position he was in suits him. So I sort of gave him some leeway, and that's why I didn't knock him down another point. And I just don't. I'm struggling to work out where he fits in, what we brought him in for, what he brings to the party that no one else does. And at the minute, it sounds horrible, but it just feels like a poor man's Ramsey for me. And I'm not Aaron Ramsey's biggest fan by a long stretch, but he just feels like a poor man's Ramsey to me. Yeah, I wish at the minute I would swap him instantly to get Ramsey back again, and that kills me to say that because I was quite happy to see the back of Ramsey because I thought he was another player that doesn't do it often enough for me. I'm sure that's going to get me some abuse, but that's just my opinion, guys. Ozil, I'm going to give him just a little bit more than the others because I thought he was our best midfielder. Again, when Mesut Ozil's in the mood, you don't like football if you don't enjoy watching him play. And I was going to go for a 7 and then I chalked it down a bit because again, we didn't create really a great deal, and that's what people keep telling me he is. As soon as we put Mesut the Messiah in, we're gonna blow teams away 6-0. And I told you guys, doesn't matter if we play 4 Mesut Ozils, Messi and Ronaldo. Under this manager, we've got no structure. We're not going to create a lot of chances. He's strangling the entire team's ability for me, definitely. But yeah, I thought Ozil was good again yesterday. And he made some cracking tackles. He looks up for it. He's clearly got a point to prove. And a player with a point to prove is never a bad person to have on the pitch. And I just think he's got to keep starting now. And like I say, for me, he's got to start in the midfield and Torreira has to start, or Chambers or Luiz as central defensive midfield. It has to be one of those 3. And then one of, if Xhaka comes back in, I hope not, but he is got to. You've got to accept that he's going to come back in the team at some point. One of either Xhaka, Ceballos or Guendouzi is that position, next sort of box-to-box deep line playmaker. Yeah. Oba, he gets a 6. I think these are a bit generous, a lot of these ratings. I just couldn't work way up that game yesterday. Yeah, it was a beautiful finish for the goal, and he looked lively first half and disappeared the second. But how much do you put that to us not giving him any service? Him just not playing good enough. I don't know, but congratulations, mate, on your 50th goal. Shame it's come in the circumstances it has. I'd love for it to be, while we were at the top of the table romping away and everyone's going, bloody hell, where's this come from? It's not. His goals are going to keep us out of a relegation scrap at the minute. And my mate laughed when I said that yesterday. I said, take his goals out of our team at the minute. We're in the bottom scrap. We're fucking miles off it. And that's why I can't understand anybody abusing him. But I did say last year, he's a player I fear for, because if he stops scoring goals, I can't understand what else he brings to the party. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, congratulations, mate, on your 50 goal. Really impressive. One of the best strikers I've seen at the club. And it's just a shame he's at the age he is, and we couldn't have got him a couple of years earlier. But we had another striker that was pretty old when we got him, and he didn't turn out too bad. Happy birthday, right, lad. But no, just Laka, last and not least. He was great for the goal. And I think he brings a lot to the party that people don't realise, and he gets a lot of abuse. People call him shit already this season that have incredibly short memories, because I'm pretty sure we voted him as Player of the Year last year. I thought it was interesting, a young guy, Bazu, was on Sonny's pod last night. He was saying, you can't blame Laka. Look, go back and look at him at Lyon and look what we've done to him. We're turning him into a 10 to 15 goal a year striker, and I couldn't agree more. It's not Laka's fault. He's another one whose ability is being strangled. It's the system. Somebody said, Aubameyang played really well when he had Martinelli and Pep and Saka either side. Well, I think if you put Laka down the middle and you put Pep and Saka either side, he'd play just as well. He is a player I really can't understand the disrespect he gets, because I think he is a world-class striker. I think he's a very different type of striker to Aubameyang, but I don't think he's a lot worse one. Definitely not. And I think if we played more to his strengths like sometimes we do Aubameyang's, I think he'd score a very similar amount of goals. Like I say, once again, that's just my opinion. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed he came off. I hope it was just protecting him from a relapse in his injury. But I couldn't understand it. After watching the first half, for me, I just thought at half-time, just whip Ceballos off for Pep. I think that's all he needed to do to get a win yesterday. Maybe I'm talking shit, who knows, it's hindsight and he's talking about a prediction, but I think that's all he had to do yesterday. He's just Guendouzi, it didn't have to be Ceballos, just one of those two had to come off for Pep yesterday and just go back to a 4-3-3, and I think we'd have won that game. And like I say, it's about like my comments about Ozil. We've got a world-class 10, or previously world-class 10, still very good when he's in the mood, and you're giving him no outlets. It's fucking baffling, but... Right, that's it, guys. It's gone on for long enough. I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the game yesterday, and just how you feel about the club at the minute. And like I say, guys, I told you I really want to start getting some of you on because I'm sick of just. I need somebody to bounce off, to ask questions to, and I've got thoughts as well. It's hard for me to just sort of keep my own thoughts in my head and try and answer what you guys want without writing an essay. You know, I just scribble down a few little bits of your questions and I just try and freestyle it. You know, I don't pre-record these; it's just off the top of my head, and that's quite tricky to do. So yeah, guys, please get in touch if you want to come on, and don't be afraid of voicing your opinion. You know, or getting laughed at, or what, you know, that's what it's here for, guys. And people have to respect different fans' opinions because we all love the club in the same way. You can't say you're not as much of a fan as me to anybody, because like I say, it's like saying to somebody, "Oh, you shouldn't get upset over that." That's not for you to decide. You know, one person trips over, scuffs the knee and laughs it off, and another person goes to A&E. You can't decide that for people, whether they're a fan or not. So yeah, please guys, get in touch and come on, because like I say, I think I've figured out the software now to have guests. So come on, get involved, roll up, and let's kick it up another notch and take this show forward. Have a lovely Sunday, guys. It's NFL all the way for me today, nothing else. Maybe a few cheeky beers on a Sunday lunch if I'm lucky, if I can talk someone into cooking me one. Lovely Sunday to all of you guys. Have a lovely day, enjoy the last day of your weekend, and sign out. It's been a pleasure, guys.